What's up, guys? It's John, and as you can probably tell by the arrangement in front of me and the title of the video, we're doing another exposure test. This time I've got only new to the market CLPs and greases. So let's just run around real quick and we'll get this started. Up top in the corner we've got Alpha Grease that comes in this container here. That did really well last time, along with the Frog Lube down here. That did well last time as well. Again, we heated these three panels on this corner as per the instructions, and we're going to see how that affects it. Moving into the center, I've got a control panel. Let me hold this up so you guys can see a little better. I've got a control down there. Up top above that, I've got Seal 1, this stuff here. Now, word on the street is that is the same or original formula of Frog Lube. Perhaps there were two partners and they split, whatever. Seal 1 is supposedly very similar to Frog Lube. Heated that and applied it. Up top, we've got Fire Clean, which again did very well on the last test. Down bottom, Weapon Shield. I don't think that did very well last time, but I wanted to include it again. I know a lot of my YouTuber friends are using that stuff and say they like it. So Weapon Shield is on the corner there. On the next plate, we've got something I picked up in Georgia, this LPS1. Up in the top corner, down here, we've got Alpha CLP. That did okay last time. This little jar here has an adjusted formula as per the owner after he saw that test, and we're going to try it out again. Up top here, we've got Snake Oil from All-Star Tactical. That's, again, a relatively new one. We'll see how it does. We've got the Rand CLP in this bottom center, followed by the Modern Spartan Systems Accuracy Oil up in the top corner. Now, that is not a CLP. It's a system. This is just the oil. We'll see how it does. And then, last but not least, the Slip 2000 Extreme Weapons Lubricant. Again, not a CLP, but we shall see how it does. Guys, I am going to check this, like I said in the last video, a lot more often. It's approximately 11 a.m. in the morning here in Pennsylvania, and it's about 40 degrees, and it is going to get a lot colder. We had snow. I know you can't see it, but yeah, we had snow recently, and we're going to see what happens. It's supposed to rain within the next couple days, and I'm going to check this when I get up in the morning and then right before the sun goes down so that we can see very easily. Obviously, we got to work with the sunlight here, but we're going to be checking it periodically within the next couple days and seeing what gives up the ghost, what kind of weird behaviors we may see, and things of that nature. So, without further ado, let's get to it.
So, day one, not much to report. As you can see, no rust forming just yet, but we will make that happen, that's for sure. As we move into the second day, again, not a lot happening, but I was expecting a ton of rain. And as you can see, day 3 delivers. Look at that. Starting to see some rust on the control, absolutely soaking all of the panels. This is really what I wanted to have happen. I wanted everything to just get obliterated with moisture and cold and just exposed to the elements. And the following day, we're starting to see some results here. The rust is definitely starting to form. Some things are starting to fail. The control, obviously, is pretty gross. And an overhead picture, just so we have a standard, regular comparison for all of these. Then moving in, a couple days later, the rust is really starting to set in. Weapon Shield is starting to fail. Fire Clean is even starting to fail there. I mean, look at that. The LPS not faring so hot. And again, our standard overhead look at who is doing well and who is not. Ugh, getting gross now, guys. So moving on, again, a couple days later, the rust in the control definitely getting deeper in. Weapon Shield not doing so hot, starting to get some deeper rust, but most of this is just on the surface and just kind of floating around there. Again, the overhead not really showing a whole lot of unbelievable things at this point, but we're going to keep moving on. Again, a couple days later, you know, I started to space out checking it. The Weapon Shield really starting to fail now. It looks like the Snake Oil is kind of starting to fail. Not a huge issue thus far. And we move on to a couple days later where we had some rain. Look at that, guys. You can see some really, really interesting things here. Everything is basically starting to fail. The natural products are holding up excessively well. Really, really impressed with all those natural-based products in this particular test. You can see everything else has rust on it besides those. That is impressive. And then look at this. It snowed. We had multiple inches of snow covering the test panels. If this isn't a proper exposure test, I don't know what is. There, I kind of carved a little thing so you could see I'm not full of it. These were really, really covered in a couple inches of snow. This is going to be interesting. So there we have the results after the snow, after everything fell off. That top plate actually fell over and didn't get quite as exposed as the bottom plate we're looking at now. So that was kind of unfortunate, but it is the reality of the situation. Alpha CLP has pretty much failed at this point. Again, Seal 1, again, starting to fail. Really not holding up too well there. You can see around the edges there on some of them, they're doing okay, but in the lead, obviously, Alpha Grease and Frog Lube taking this one. Moving along to, again, a couple days later, not really seeing a lot. Not seeing a lot. And there is the deepest part. You can see more moisture just laying on these panels. The Frog Lube is finally starting to fail. The Alpha Grease untouched. And that is where I decided to call it an end, guys. I think it's about time to wrap this up.
I think it's time to declare a winner. We've been watching this over the span of a few weeks, and we've seen all kinds of weather, snow, rain, cold, warmth, etc. We've seen it all. Now, again, guys, please keep in mind that this is not the be-all, end-all to CLP testing or anything like that. This is meant to show you the capabilities of corrosion resistance with just exposure. That's it. Being left outside on bare steel, that's all this is supposed to show you. It's not supposed to show you lubricity or slickness or anything like that. So keep that in mind when you're picking your lube. Some of these may be better lubricants, but not hold up quite as long. So obviously we're trying to find a blend there. And another thing to consider is that the summer version of this test that I did where heat was involved showed some different results than we found here today. Now, I think it's time to declare our winner, and I think quite obviously that is the Alpha Grease. I think that is simply because it's a thicker product and it's designed to just cling and cover the surface. To me, that makes sense. That's why that is, I would say, 98% rust-free, except the edges there. That is the clear winner. Now, in second place, we've got the Frog Lube here. That did really well. The Seal 1 also did well, not quite as well as the Frog Lube, and that's simply because they are natural products. They gel up in cold weather, and they kind of bond together and create something similar to a grease. Now, across this whole board, let me talk about what I think of these individual products. I was kind of surprised that the Fire Clean did not do better. I've seen this stuff work pretty well in the summer. I was really impressed with it on the warm weather test, but here it didn't fare so well. Some of the other ones that you would kind of expect to do a little bit better, Weapon Shield. I've seen a lot of guys pimping Weapon Shield. That stuff didn't do well in the summer or winter test. So to me, that's out of my collection. Now, we've got the LPS. That did okay. That's a new one. Not really sure where that's going. The Alpha CLP lasted quite a while, but as you can see, once it kind of got past that, it's not working phase, it really just got covered in rust. Not too surprising. I think with a little bit of tweaking, this product could be very, very similar to this product. And honestly, combining these two as a system, which is, I believe, how they intend it, would be really, really nice. You could also work in the Frog Lube. That's a great product. Now moving on, we've got the Snake Oil. That didn't do too well. It also didn't do horribly bad. I mean, it's very splotchy and the rust isn't quite as thick as on some of the other ones. We've got the Rand CLP down here. Underwhelmed with that product. It didn't do horrible. No, it didn't do horrible, but it's not the be-all, end-all. It's not the next step to me. Now, again, I haven't tested it as a CLP, which is what it's designed for. This is just exposure. So going off of what I have in front of me, underwhelmed. Slip 2000, again, not really impressed with it. That stuff is a very good lubricant. I've used it on a bunch of my guns, and it just doesn't really do that well in long-term corrosion testing. Not surprised. Accuracy oil did okay. We've got some interesting patterns here. You can see that half of this is way more rusty than the inside. Not really sure. This is going to get some more testing, and I think probably the Alpha is going to get more testing. That company just really impresses me because they are so small. If I'm not mistaken, this Alpha company, Alpha Grease and Alpha CLP, is run out of somebody's home. Okay, and for somebody like that to not only formulate something that goes up against the big guys, but to beat some of the big guys or come close to them even, just getting close to them, is a huge feat in and of itself. In addition, I would like to say that I have heard stories about frog loom in wintertime where it actually binds up your gun because it gets so gelatinous. I cannot report on the Alpha Grease at this point doing something similar because, you know, that's, again, a natural product. All of the Alpha CLP, Seal 1, Frog Lube, Alpha Grease, they're all natural-based products, and they're going to kind of turn into more of a gelatinous form, and that may cause issues. I can't guarantee that because obviously once your gun gets warm and shooting, it's not going to be an issue. So obviously way more testing to go, but as far as the exposure test, the Alpha Grease far and away the winner. Second was the Frog Lube, and then we're going to give it to the Seal 1. Honorable mentions the Alpha CLP for just being a complete underdog and doing well in this test. What I want to know from you guys is, who do you think did the best? What product are you interested in? Honestly, because there's a lot going on here, and I know everybody has their own thought process on what they want out of a CLP. So guys, leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. As always, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe. And as always, guys, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon.
Remember, guys, you can support the channel more by going to patreon.com/I'mWithChaos.